Hello, shipmates. This is Fred Schuler. I'd like to share these recordings with you. I've had these 78 RPM discs for so many years that I've forgotten how I came by them. The discs were copied from the original recordings we made on the Sealion. The Battleship attack recording was made with the film recorder that was left with us by the CBS war correspondent who was supposed to go on patrol with us, but developed cold feet between Pearl and Midway. The boys in the forward room must have done some snow job on him. It was decided to record any action during this patrol on his machine so we could turn it over to him upon our return. When Captain Rich ordered battle stations on picking up the Jap task force, I set the film recorder up in the control room, passed the microphone up to the conning tower, telling them to hang it near an intercom speaker, and went to my battle station on plot. I didn't realize at the time how sensitive this equipment and its microphone were. It picked up and amplified all the background noises in the conning tower, as well as the battle information and commands. I mention this because you may wonder how come the second part of this recording of the last attack made under Captain Putnam was so clear and the environment so calm. This attack was made on the wire recorder Captain Rich conned out of the underwater sound lab before we left New London. It always gave us excellent recordings and we should have stuck with it. But here's what we've got to jog your memory.
This is a recorded account of the night attack by the USS Sealion against an enemy task force in the Pacific. The Sealion was patrolling off the China coast. The sky was overcast, there was no moon, and the sea was calm. Visibility was about 1,500 yards. Just after midnight, the radar operator reported a contact at 44,000 yards. 3 pips, very clear and distinct, were picked up at this long range. The captain ordered normal approach in order to determine target's track and speed. Having determined the target's track as 060 and its speed as 17 knots, the Sealion assumed a course which would keep it well ahead of the target group and close the track. A half hour later, at 0240, the Sealion had reached a position about 4,000 yards off the target track and had a range of 10,000 yards from the battleship chosen as target. The captain ordered left full rudder and made a complete loop in order to put the submarine in a good position to fire her forward torpedoes at the first battleship and to keep clear of the destroyer on the target's port bow. At the beginning of the next recorded sequence, this loop has been completed, and the Sealion is heading directly for the battleship and making final preparations for firing torpedoes.
You'll run is 26 yards. 500 yards. Still 3,500 yards. Lucian Park. What's Carl? That's all right. That's the last thing, Carl. Lucian Park. 007 Lucian forward, 3,500 yards per meter run. Heading on like you're over there. All right. Look at that. I'll be ready. Why? That's about 3,400 yards per meter run. All right. And then right next, get the goal through your target. Main target. R2. I thought you were going to there. You're on your own clock. Keep doing it. Spread sit. Five sit. Wait a minute. Red sit. All sit. Go ahead, wait. Hard there. Very good. Very good, Dan. Red sit. Very Tony. Very good. Number 1. For me, run 3,200, yeah. 33 under watch, please. 010. 099. All right, good. Very great. Two of them will do it. 4.5. Very good. Give me another one. That's good. All right, good. Keep going. 3 minutes and not ready yet. What do you think? Come on, you ready? All right, let's go. Six. Oh, we're almost to get with that. Come on. Is there somebody forward to me? Oh, forward to me. Go ahead. Read it. That is 1 PB. I need to read it very good. Push it. Go ahead, Bill. Back there. Let's go ahead. You got to be your team. Well, the blue goes on the main line. Hold up on 460. I know, but what you did on that one, that was a bad ball. You fired on about the second or third ship in column where you fired on the last ship. You had it after the setup. That's all. I thought we were swinging the last ship, Captain. All right, you ordered another ship back to the guy that looked like he's starting us with another ship. That's also 200. All right, bro. Okay, now. All right, number 320.
Let us review briefly the action which you have just heard. 6 torpedoes were fired from the bow tubes of the first battleship. The captain then ordered full right rudder, and 3 stern torpedoes were fired at the second battleship. 3 hits were made on the first target, and at least 1 on the second. In the meantime, the bridge quartermaster had reported that he could make out a high superstructure on target number 1 that looked like the pagoda build of a Jap battleship. The OOD reported that he could distinguish the outline of the nearest cruiser on the port quarter. Both also observed the explosions resulting from the torpedo hits. After firing both bow and stern tubes, the Sealion opened the range and continued to track the various ships of the task force. When the range had increased to about 5,000 yards, the PPI indicated that one of the escort vessels was opening rapidly to the east of the target group, and a long series of depth-charge explosions was heard. Apparently, the escort had mistakenly figured that the attack had come from the east.
Hey, drop a depth charges now. There's one escort that's on one angle about 10,000 yards. He's pulling away from the Congo. He must think we're over there. Yeah, he's up somebody over there, drop a depth charge. That's right. He's way over there. 10,050 yards. I think they're down, dude. Number 2 cruiser. Well, I don't know. We got the... We saw this big explosion. We've got a visible of 3 heads that maybe fall apart. I heard the number 10 cruiser. Mark. 2 on the crew, 4 6 on go. Number 1 BP. Mark. 2 on the 3 and a half. 6 7 go.
Sometime later, the radio operator picked up Japanese code, presumably from one of the escort ships.
11,150. Mark, 073, 11,060. This is Japanese boat picked up on our receiver shortly after torpedoing.
The enemy group continued on a course of 060 at 16 knots. Apparently, the torpedoes, set in the depth of 8 feet in order to hit the destroyer as it overlapped the target, had only dented the armor belt of the battleship. An hour after the attack, tracking indicated that the target group was zigzagging. The Sealion, having reloaded, set its course parallel to that of the target group and proceeded at maximum speed. They gained slightly on the enemy group, but after 30 minutes were forced to flying speed. The sea and wind had increased, and the ship was taking solid water over the bridge with plenty going down into the conning tower hatch. A speed of about 17 knots was maintained, with safety tank dry, and using low-pressure blower often in order to keep ballast tanks dry. Engine rooms were taking considerable water through induction. About 2 hours after the initial attack, radar indicated that the enemy formation was breaking up into 2 groups. One group, which seemed to be maintaining its speed, consisted of 3 large ships, cruiser, battleship, and cruiser in column, with 1 destroyer as escort. The second group, 1 battleship and 2 destroyers, was losing speed and dropping astern of the first. The Sealion prepared to attack the second group, which had slowed to 11 knots. Before the Sea Lion could close to firing range, the bridge quartermaster reported a tremendous explosion dead ahead. The sky was brilliantly lighted. On the radar screen, the battleship pit became smaller and smaller and finally disappeared entirely. The two destroyers appeared to be milling around in the vicinity of the sunken battleship. At 0525, the Sea Lion transmitted a contact report to ComSubStack. 20 minutes later, at 0545, the Sea Lion received an acknowledgement and a rebroadcast report on High Crew Fox schedule. Chase of the first group, the faster one, was resumed. The Sea Lion came around to the northeast and increased speed to flank. The enemy group, which was now 20,000 yards away, was moving at a speed of about 19 knots on a zigzag course, 30 degrees to either side of a base course of 060. After an hour of chase, the Sea Lion was forced to reduce speed to standard because of the heavy seas, and finally, 2 hours later, at 0740, the chase was given up entirely since too much water was being taken into the engine room, conning tower, and ventilating system. The Sea Lion submerged, and all hands turned to, cleaning up water and repairing minor damage.